Warriors fans, Robin here, and I'm back again ahead of our next best of 3 match. Now, we're going to have a best of 3, we're going to have some special rules. This best of 3 was requested by one of our Patreon patrons. If you pledge at the $10 level, then you get to pick one of our matches each month, or you get the chance to. We choose a different person each month, and Anthony chose this little selection. He wanted us to play anything we liked, but with the stipulation that we had a 50% of the cards in it belonged to the faction that we had chosen. So that's why we call it our fraction deck. And the fraction of this deck is more or less 50%. We actually went for 33% on the objectives because when we looked at them, there aren't that many faction-specific objectives. Some of them are directly contrary to one another, and we just felt for a better game we would be better with a third. So we've gone for a third objectives belong to the fraction and half each of the power cards. I've actually gone for 22 power cards, so I might split 6-5 and 5-6. The warband I've chosen is the Farstriders. I've enjoyed playing with those. I think they've got some really nice faction specific cards, so we'll see how it goes. And Anthony also asked for a best of 3 if that was possible, and it was Anthony, so we will be doing a best of 3 with this deck so we can really see how it all hangs together. So here we go. So here are my objectives. I've started with Brave but Cautious. So this is effectively Sigmar's Bulwark, but with only you have to have one fighter alive. Sensible Bulwark is how I like to call it. Eternal Supremacy, which is basically just Supremacy, but Farstrider specific. Lightning Advance. This is a sort of mini Conquest, but you can get it, or there is a Swift Advance, isn't there? But this is a Farstrider specific one. And Punishing Volleys, which is if you make 3 successful Boltstorm or overcharged Boltstorm pistol attacks, you get a glory. I do love this card. I don't think I've ever come remotely close to scoring it, and I probably won't again, but we'll see. And the theme of the deck is kind of speed and grabbing of objectives, as you'll see in a moment, which is a bit risky with the Fast Riders. There's only 3 of them, but we'll see how we go. So the rest of my cards, I have 2-3-5, Alone in the Darkness, 2-4-4, Chosen Champion. I keep putting having opportunities to have scored this card, so I thought I'd better put it in a deck so I can actually score it, as it's not been in my decks before. Conquest is 2-4-7, Cover Ground 2-4-9, so we'll be hoping to get some speed in. Escalation, I include that in pretty much every deck. Making a Statement, bit of a risk making a statement. Thought I'd try it. Got to get objectives in my opponent's half. Maybe with my speed I'll be able to do that. Depends what Pete plays. If he plays Skaven, it'll be really hard. If he plays one of the smaller warbands or perhaps the Guard, it might be a little easier, but we'll see. Our only way out is like poor man's Supremacy. Still need 3, but only get 2. And Supremacy. So as you can see, I've really doubled down on the Supremacy cards with only 3 fighters in my warband. That may well come and bite me on the bum, but we will see. So on to my ploys. So I've got 5 Farstriders ploys. I've got Firm Footing, which is an extra defense dice for those holding objectives. I'll be trying to get on those objectives, so I should want to hold them when I do. Lightning Blow, +1 damage to any attack in the next activation. That is pretty handy. It's got a hit, obviously, but it's pretty handy for those bows. Picks them up to 2, which is good against many of the sort of weaker warband characters, and is also handy in combat too for close-up. So that's a really nice card for the Farstriders. Lightning Stride is Farstriders Sprint. Rangers Advance. This is a bit of a double-edged card. This one, you can push 2 fighters 1 hex, but you just have to be careful because sometimes you only want to press 1, and that's all you've got in your hand. You've got to press 2, so you've got to push 2. So that could be an issue, but we'll see. Steady Volley, the first friendly fighter in the next activation can be pushed 1 hex before making that move. Again, it's all about the movement, and because I'm all about the movement in this game, I've gone for Earthquake to 3-2-1, Great Concussion 3-2-9 to try and manipulate that board. Healing Potions, Inspiration Strikes, Quick Thinker, and Ready for Action. Most of those about the movement. Healing Potion because I do want to keep my people alive, as I only have 3. Inspiration Strikes because the inspiration condition for Farstriders is quite tricky getting in the other half. I may not want to do that. It may not be safe to do so, and an Inspiration Strikes would be very handy indeed. And Ready for Action because it's a great card. My upgrades, 11 of those, and I've gone for 6 Farstrider specific upgrades. I've got Etheric Step, which enables Farstrider himself to walk through his opponents as long as the healers are an empty hex. The Flashing Hand Axe, another Farstrider one, gives his hand axe cleave. Could be useful if I come up against the fiends. Furious Blow is for Eagle Eye only, and it stops him from being driven back if he's attacked and there's a failure, and he can attack back, which is quite handy. A Lone Warrior. So Lone Warrior is basically Helpful Whiskers, but for Farstriders. Helpful Whiskers. Helpful Whispers, but for Farstriders. Overcharged Boltstorm Pistol gives it cleave. Swift Stride +2 move. Again, I'm all about the move in this game. A Destiny to Meet, because I think that will be pretty handy. Trying to get that extra glory if I'm on an objective. I haven't got a main objective, just to be alive. I'm hoping I won't lose all my men, so Destiny to Meet will be very useful for that. Awakened Weapon, because in theory it's very useful, particularly for the 3-sword attacks from a long way off. I don't know how often I use that, but you never know. Flickering Image. Again, this is about pushing people up. If I make a critical hit, I can push 2 people up with that card. Great Fortitude, +1 wounds, again, all about keeping people alive. And again, Trusted Defender, but an extra reroll 1 defense dice, which is quite useful if trying to not die. So that is my hand. I say that's our 50% roughly fraction. This could be the way forward for me and Pete. It's quite interesting to get to see some different cards. We're not playing the same cards every week. I really enjoyed it. Actually makes picking your army slightly easier because you have half your cards kind of pick themselves, depending on what you're trying to do, because you're only picking from a very small number. So actually the process of picking them is less painful. We'll see how it goes. It's going to be a best of 3. I'm confident this could go. Well, I say I'm confident. This could go horribly wrong. It's all going to rely on the speed. I've got lots and lots of objective grabbing objectives, so we'll see how it goes. And you can see when this first battle report comes up. So until then, enjoy watching. If you do want to check us out on Patreon, we're getting quite a nice little community growing over there now, and we do chat over there most days about Shadespire and all things geeky, so do come along and say hello. Even if you chip in at the $2 level, we'd love to have you. So until then, or until next time, bye!